Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let me introduce myself. My name is Violina Aprilia from Management 20G. I'm from Nusa Putra University. Now, I want to present on you about my paper with the title is The Impact of Infrastructure Development on Economic Growth in West Java. Let's start with the share screen. The impact of infrastructure development of economic growth in West Java. Content of this topic is abstract, introduction, methodology, result and discussion, conclusion, and reference. Abstract. The study was conducted to determine how far the impact of infrastructure on the competitiveness of the national economy in West Java. Based on the research conducted, there are several factors that affect the growth of the national economy, such as aggregate demand, investment, and GRDP. Based on the available models, the study aimed to identify and discuss the factors that determine national competitiveness, which in turn have a positive effect on the total industry output. The result of this study, the level of institutional development and other factors, including infrastructure after competitiveness. Thus, findings contribute to an understanding of the key factors that determine economic growth, help to explain what infrastructure factors allow to be more successful in raising income levels and offer policymakers and business leaders and important tools in the formulation of improvement economic policies and institutional reform. Keyword: economic growth, investment, and GRDP. The economy will grow and develop if there is an increase in population that expand the market and encourage specialization, say Adam Smith. Okay, first one, we got the introduction. Economic growth is the process of increasing output per capita continuously in the long run. Economic growth is one indicator of the success of development. An important goal of development is to reduce poverty and reduce unemployment. Then economic growth will increase and the level of community welfare will also increase. In the concept of economic development, a more equitable distribution of income in developing countries is an important condition or term that must be implemented to support economic growth. In Indonesia, economic development is essentially an activist process of changing the traditional economic structure into a modern economic structure to capital investment to increase production capacity that produce higher output or income. There are several factors or variables that affect economic growth. One of which is the investment variable, which is one step close to economic growth activities. The level of investment plays an important role in economic development because when the higher the stock of capital, the higher the level of ability to produce output will be followed. The government companies and the society together try to increase the level of labor utilization by implementing various policies and that include community empowerment that creates qualified and ready-to-work individuals. Then, the government has an important role in creating job opportunities according to individual abilities and potential. Next is methodology. The research The research method used is qualitative research method in the form of descriptive narrative analysis and literature studies from various institutions as data source such as BPS, Bapeda West Java, and various other institutions. Third, result and discussion. First, economic growth theory. According to Keynes, describing the macro situation of an economy is determined from what happened to the aggregate demand of society. If aggregate demand exceeds the output products in the period, there will be a situation of shortage of products. In the next period, output will increase, which be followed by an increase in price, or both things can happen simultaneously. Furthermore, Keynes also said that government policy can affect aggregate demand to approach the full employment position. In a closed in a closed economic aggregate, demand consists of three elements. First is consumption expenditure by household. Uh, yang the second is investment expenditure by firm, and third government expenditure. In the second, have factors affecting economic growth. The theory of economic growth can be defined as an explanation of the factors that determine the increased output per capita in the long run, and an explanation of how their factors lead to the growth process. According to Schumpeter and Hicks in Jingan, there is a difference in terms of economic development and economic growth. Economic development is a spontaneous and intermittent change in a stationary state that constantly situation constantly change and replace the previously exciting equilibrium station. While economic growth is a slow and steady long-term change that occurs through an increase in saving and population. Classical growth theory, according to classical economists, there are four factors that influence economic growth, like population, total stock of capital goods, land area and natural wealth, and level of technology use. This is the figure or graphic of the growth of the Human Development Index in West Java. Based on figure 1, in a general development of infrastructure conditional in West Java has increased from year to year. This is also followed by the increase in the sectoral PRDB of West Java. If household consumption increase, then the investment will also increase. At full employment, there will be an increase in consumption or aggregate demand. If household consumption outlay increase, the company's investment will also increase. The local government will also empower various economic sources to encourage equality and increase people's income. According to Keynes, development funds are one the products input that can produce outputs. And the third is investment theory. Local government investment in this case is expressed in a development outlay that can affect economic growth. Investment spending affect aggregate demand but does not affect aggregate supply. Regarding to Keynes' opinion, the role of the private sector in regional economic activities is very necessary, especially to invest both at the regional and national level, so that it can spur economic growth. Furthermore, the opinion of the economics regarding the role of investment is according to Roscoe. Then is gross regional domestic product. According to Sadono, gross regional domestic products is the value of all goods and service products within 1 year in a certain area without distinguishing ownership of production factor, but rather require the presence of production factor used in the production process. It is a reflection of the economic progress on the region. The increase in GRDP will cause regional income from the tax and levy sector to increase. This has an impact on increasing regional income in the area. In calculating GRDP, all business files are grouped into 9 economic sectors, which include agriculture sector, meaning acquiring sector, manufacturing sector, electric, gas, and clean water sector, building sector, trade, hotel, and restaurant sector, transportation, and communication sector, and the last is service sector. This is the table of GRDP of West Java province on the basis of constant price by business file in the billion rupiah. Based on the table 1, that the value of GRDP is not highly fluctuating, while the processing industry sector is the large sector in contributing to the GRDP value of the province of West Java. This is evidenced by the development policy set by the government, that is by giving development license to manufacturers that stand and operate in West Java. The Central Statistic Agency, or BPS, of West Java start the number of the workforce in February 2020 was 24.33 million people, and increased the grade of public consumption and became a driving factor to the development of sector. Other in the province of West Java, economic growth can be seen from the percentage increase in GRDP and reflect the income or output of a regional in a certain period. This percent can be used as an indicator to see the economic progress of a particular area. As already started, the manufacturing sector provided a relative high contribution to the formatting of the GRDP of the province of West Java. Furthermore, it will be tried to analyze the effect of lending, the number of works, and the overlay of development in the primary sector of the economic growth of the primary sector in the West Java province. And the last is a conclusion. The conclusion from this topic is the role of development infrastructure in the West Java is an important point in advancing economic growth. This is illustrated by the high value of PRDB in the manufacturing sector, which require infrastructure development in managing the business. When manufacturing is built, other infrastructure such as quality roads, rail access, hospital, and shopping center will also be built around it. Of course, this will increase the rate of economic growth in other sectors outside the manufacturing sectors. Is the some reference? What is the some reference that I create to build this paper? that's all for me, and thank you for your attention. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bye bye.